Well guys, I ran into a problem. See that? It doesn't fit. That's what I got going on right now. Alright, so we got it figured out. Thanks to Dan down at Precision for the advice. Basically, I'll use the old camp cap just to explain this, just because I already set that one on the motor and I don't really feel like pulling it up right now. Pretty much this hole, what had happened in the past is somehow the aluminum in here, it's almost like there's like a little bushing in that thing. It got crushed somehow. So that's why that restrictor wasn't fitting in there. So what had to happen is I took a Dremel and I just kind of slowly, a little at a time, just sanded it down to kind of take that burr away or whatever from the aluminum being crushed. And after that, you know, the restrictor fit in there just fine. So as you can see, the cap is basically all the way down now. So, you know, it fits great. Something stupid like that, you know, for me, like, I'd never seen that problem before. So I didn't know if there was a different part, but luckily we got that figured out. I can keep pressing on with this and, you know, hopefully get this thing done. All right, guys, so welcome back. And we're gonna try to get these cams actually degreed today. I have some footage from last week when I was working on this that I didn't put in last week's video because I thought it was more appropriate to put it with the rest of the cam degreeing process. So I'm gonna try to fit that in here, I guess, where it makes sense, kind of from the beginning, although I did skip a couple steps. So I'll try to explain it the best I can using the footage I had, because some of the steps are already done, so I have to use the old footage because I'm not tearing it down just to re-record it all. But we're going to try to put it in chronological order so it all makes sense, and then we'll pick up again where I'm at right now. So, see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, so
if you travel to the past, that past becomes your future. And your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
Well, if you remember that video, if you watched that video, if you haven't, go check it out. Anyways, this is when I introduced my cam degree kit that I bought from FCS Race. So basically, we need to degree the cams in this thing once I get them in. And the reason you want to degree your camshaft is so that you get basically peak lift and peak duration, I guess, out of your camshaft, so you make the most amount of horsepower. So the valves are open and they open for their peak amount, basically, as well as, you know, close at the right time and all of that. With higher profile camshafts, it's really important to degree your cams because you want them to open and close at the center line, which is outlined on your cam card when you get it from a manufacturer. Once I get the Skunk2 cams open, we'll look at the cam card and we'll find out what the intake and exhaust center line are, and I'll try to explain that a little bit better once we're actually degreeing these things and looking for that center line. But yeah, the first thing you need to do basically is, in this kit, hopefully this don't fall. I talked about it in that last video. They've got these little, you can kind of see it there, these little BBs right there. So what ends up happening with those BBs is we need to lock VTEC in, because obviously your VTEC lobe is going to be bigger than your normal two exhaust or intake lobes. So you need to measure or degree your cams off of VTEC. In order to lock that in, I have to pull the the rocker rail out, and then take the rocker assembly out, and then the pins that lock in VTEC, that BB goes in there so that all three rockers lock together, and then we're running on that VTEC lobe of the camshaft. So I need to go ahead, get these locked in, and once these are locked in, then I can lay the camshafts on here and get our cam caps back on and our towers, drop all of that in, torque it all down, get our cam gears on here, and then we can start degreeing this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this stuff put in, and get back. Once this stuff's put back in, I'll get back to you and we'll start degreeing the camshafts. So here you can see we've got our rocker assembly out. Basically, this third one here that's got the pin on it. Probably gonna need a magnet. Let me grab a magnet quick. And a magnet here. Pull that pin out that locks in VTEC. And we're gonna set that BB right down in there. Put our pin back in. That BB will make that stick out ever so slightly, so it'll lock in the rest of the pins here, so VTEC will be engaged. Just like so. Then we go ahead, push that together, and set it back into the engine. So here you can see, like if I push down on this center rocker, you can tell it's independent of the other two, right? You don't see the other two moving with it. Now, boom. I mean, they're all three. I don't know if that's showing. I hope that's showing. But they're all three locked in on both the intake and exhaust side. You gotta do it on both sides. Number one cylinder. Okay, so now you guys seen that I installed the little whatever BBs in my rocker assembly so that that cylinder one is basically opening on the VTEC lobe on both intake and exhaust. I went ahead and I got the timing belt on here, motor's timed, and I don't even want to go into that because I just got in my own head so bad out here wondering if I timed it right, and I don't know. Clearly I need more caffeine or something, because
I think I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be right. I'm just an idiot. We're moving on. Anyways, I mean, honestly, up mark, we're aligned, and we come down here, and boom, timing mark. All the marks are on. So I don't know why I was questioning things. I've been working on too many V8s, I can tell you that. Too many V8s. Anyways, so the next step, which I had already tried prior and obviously didn't work so hot, is I need to put on the degree wheel. So we're gonna get that degree wheel put on here, and then we'll have to go ahead and find true top dead center again with the piston stop. Got my fancy little pointer here. You guys might have seen me bending this up in last week's video. We gotta find a place to attach this, something like that, so it points at our degree wheel. And then we can move on with the process of getting these cams dialed in. So I'm gonna go ahead, get that degree wheel put on right now. All right, so got the degree wheel on here. Just take the crank bolt out, stick it through the degree wheel, shove it on here. You want your TDC mark to be pointing up, and we're already at top dead center, as I just showed you. You know, our marks are up on the cam gears. Our marks match here, or even with the head, and well, I showed you already the crank was at the TDC mark. If you look down here, you can see the piston, top dead center. Should be on the compression stroke, because both of the cam journals on the exhaust and intake are both a base circle. So now we take this fancy little piston stop here, and I'm gonna have to rotate the engine probably, I don't know, probably go like 10-15 degrees off TDC, and then install the piston stop and screw it down until it contacts the piston. We'll rotate the motor all the way over till it hits the piston. Then we gotta go backwards until it hits the piston again. We'll take account of those 2 points and then divide them by, or add them, divide them by 2, find the average. So we're finding the dead center between the 2 marks with the piston stop. That'll be true TDC. Once we find that, then we'll take our pointer and I'll fix this to the engine so that it points exactly in the center of those 2 numbers. And then after that we would rotate our degree wheel so 0 matches our pointer, and that is true top dead center. So I'll go ahead and get this piston stop put in, and we'll find true TDC. Grab our flathead here, the piston stop down in there, rotate this so we contact that piston. Almost forgot to grab the camera again. Okay, so piston stop's in there. I went 15 degrees off TDC. So I went ahead and put my marker on there, and I put it at 0 at top dead center. Put the pistons, and then I rotated it 15 degrees off top dead center. Put the piston stop in, rotated the piston stop down until it contacted the piston, and then I continued in normal rotation of the engine until the piston came back up and contacted the piston stop. So now we need to record where it's at. So right here we're looking at what? 21? Yeah, we're at 21. So I'll find a pen here and we'll write that down, 21. So now what we need to do is we need to rotate the engine in the opposite direction until we contact the piston stop again. And then we'll take our second reading. There we go, got it turned, and now we're looking at, I'd probably say, looks like 14 to me. So then we take 14, and then we do the math. 21 plus 14 divided by 2 is what? That's 5. 35 divided by 2 is something. $17.5. 17.5 is true TDC. So right now our pointer's at 14. So we need to adjust the pointer over to 17.5. I'll go ahead and I'll try to do that and hope you guys can see what the fuck I'm doing. So in front of pliers. Pliers here. So 17.5. 15. 15, 16, 17, basically that blue line right here. Should be 10, 15, 16, 17. And I'm right in the middle of 17 and 18. So that should be true TDC right there. So now what I need to do is pull the piston stop back out, and we'll rotate this to 0 there. We'll rotate our 0 to where the pointer is, and that is true TDC. Piston stops out. Ratchet. Right there. Dead on 0. That right there is true TDC. Alright, so the next step is to set the valve latch to 0 on the rockers or whatever, or the valves that we'll be degreeing the cams off of. So I set both the intake and exhaust valves for cylinder 1 0 valve latch. You want to double check that your camshaft lobes are on base circle. And what they mean by base circle is that it's on the big side. Like, you know, cam lobes look like an egg, so you don't want the smaller top portion. You want the pad of the rocker to be on base circle, the bottom portion where it's big. So that means basically all your valves are closed. So now that we've verified that, we're good there. We gotta figure out what our next step is. Alright, so the next step is to install our base plate, or our measuring plate, whatever you want to call this thing. Our adapter for our dial indicators out of the FCS cam degree kit. So we need to bolt this thing on here. So, I think there's some movement. Alright guys, so I'm gonna finish up this video finally. It's actually been quite a while since that last clip when I was mounting the dial indicator set. Deer hunting got in the way and whatnot, and I just didn't really have a weekend at home or a day at home to really come out here and just knock this out. And I got confused and stuff. Finally figured it out. Found a video deep in the archives of YouTube, and it really helped me out quite a bit. And I came out here and I sent it on what I had learned, and hoped that it came out right. And when I did the math, everything came out right, it seemed. And then when I adjusted the cam gears, like everything went the way it was supposed to, and everything made sense to me. So I guess, like, I don't know, I feel pretty confident that this is correct. And I'm just gonna put that disclaimer that everybody else puts in their cam degree videos. This is by no means a professional tutorial, and this is my first time doing it. So if you follow along with this, do it at your own risk. I ain't liable. Just gonna put that out there right now. Anyways, so the cams are degreed now. I did it off camera. The camera was sitting over on the bench. I didn't even care. Didn't turn it on, nothing. I just got this done, knocked it out. I focused on it, but now that they're done, I'm gonna walk you through probably both the intake and exhaust sides, and I'll show you what I did, what numbers, what readings I looked for, and then the math behind it to find the center line. And you want your center line to match what your cam card says, and if it's off, then that you either, depending on which way it's off, you need to retard or advance your cam. So anyways, I'm not gonna sit here and blab about it. I'm just gonna get to it because I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is. So well, I'm gonna try to set up a tripod the best I can, and hopefully it works. But first things first, so this is mounted. And you want your, I don't know if you can see it down there. Probably not. Well, basically you want your dial indicators here on your intake and exhaust valves, and you want it to sit on the retainer, not on the rocker. You want it to be on the retainer, so it travels with the spring basically as that valve opens and closes. And then the center one, basically there to watch for TDC. You don't absolutely need the center one. That's basically there to find top dead center. But then once you are at TDC, like as you can see when we set up the degree wheel, it's not actually on 0 right now. It's, I don't know, it's a touch off. It's like 0.5, which, you know, basically whatever. But you want your degree wheel at 0 TDC. And then once you have this set up and you know you're at true TDC, you'll just, you know, loosen up your dial indicators and then spin it and then zero out all 3 of these bad boys. Like I said, like that one's not truly on 0 right now, but that's also because this isn't either. They're off just a hair. So sorry. You guys are some of you are gonna be like, you're not on 0. Like, yeah, I get it. I know I'm not on 0 right now. But it's not a big deal at the moment. So anyways, once you have that all set, you know you're at true top dead center. The next step is I would start with the intake cam. Just seemed to be easiest when I was following my 15 sets of directions I have here. Everybody started on the intake cam, so that's where I started. Before, I was trying to just do it with the exhaust cam first, and everything was confusing. And yeah, so I'll walk you through the intake cam first and show you the math, and then I'll either walk you through the exhaust cam or I'll just explain it because it's basically the same thing, just on the opposite side. But let's go ahead and get to it. So, get you guys on this tripod here. It's not even meant for a GoPro, but we're gonna make it work. See if I can get you in here somehow. Alright, well, I don't really have a better way to mount this, so this is just gonna have to work the way it is. But basically, according to the directions here, you first need to find your degree when your intake valve opens, or you need to find a degree when your intake valve, which we're pointing at right now, we're on the intake side, when the valve opens 50 thousandths of an inch. So basically we're zeroed out right now, so hopefully the tripod's not in the way. We're gonna turn the engine in normal direction of rotation until we start seeing that needle move on our dial indicator. And now this normally happens, I believe, after bottom dead center, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember. I believe it's after bottom dead center. I'll verify that in a minute. We're going to keep turning this, and it should start turning here. Oh, right there. So before top dead center. Alright, so as you can see, the needle's moving. So we want to go to 50 thousandths. So, right about there. The valve is now open 50 thousandths of an inch. So, let's see if I can rob this back out of here. Now that it's open 50 thousandths of an inch, we need to take our degree off our degree wheel. So we're looking right now about, I'd say 30 degrees before top dead center. So then we would write that down, come over here, let's grab this piece of paper, 30 before TDC, and then the next step is we have to find 50 thousandths before the valve fully closes. We need to stop 50 thousandths before the valve fully closes. So in order to do that, what I had to do at first is rotate the motor over and kind of just count how many times the dial indicator went around so that I would know kind of when to stop prior to the valve fully closing, so that I would know, okay, we're coming up on my last cam rotation here, and I know it's going to stop back at 0. So obviously we want to be 50 thousandths before the valve fully closes. So set you guys down here again, try to get you back in here and pointing. This would be nice if I had somebody holding this dang thing for me. It'd be a lot easier to record this in reality. Well, you can come on, fighting it. All right, there we go. Okay, so I believe it's like 5 full rotations or something like that. 4.5, I can't remember. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotations, and now the needle will start going back the other way. Okay, so we just passed peak lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now this should be the last rotation before the valve fully seats. So we're going to go to 50 thousandths here before it closes. Right there. And we come back down here and we look at our degree wheel, and I'd say we're about 47.5. And that would be 47.5 after bottom dead center. Did I say 47.5? So 47.5 after bottom dead center, I believe, right? Yes, there's bottom dead center, and we go counterclockwise, so we'd be after bottom dead center. So now we have to take these two numbers, pull the old phone out, do some math. So 30 plus 47.5 equals 77.5. And according to the directions, we would also then we add 180 for the rotation of the crankshaft, I believe it is. Then we divide that by 2 because it's two cam revolutions to 1 crank revolution. I think I'm doing that right. So that'd be 128.75, and now we have to subtract our open number. So our open number was 30 degrees before top dead center. So we subtract 30, that gives us 98.75. We go over to our cam card, and this is the intake side. So we're looking for the center line, basically peak lift would be 98 degrees after top dead center. So when I first started, when the cams were 0, I came out with do I still have it written down? I might still have it written down here. Or I scratched it out, I'm not really sure. It was like 10. So I was 106. I came out with 106, which is 8 degrees off. 8 degrees off. So what I needed to do is, let's see if I can find it here on the cam. It's not focused too well, but you can see I had to advance the cam. So I was 8 degrees off. Being it takes 2 revolutions of the cam for 1 revolution of the crank, you take half that number, so it wouldn't be 8 degrees that I have to advance it, it would be 4. So I advanced it 4 degrees, went through this whole process again, 50 thousandths open, 50 thousandths before the valve closed, came out with another number that was close but not quite there. So then I retarded it again, but 1 degree, because I think I was 2 degrees off. So I retarded it 1 degree, and then now we're right where we need to be with 98. We're looking peak lift 98 after TDC. That cam is now degreed, and we're sitting pretty right where we need to be. Those numbers are probably confusing. I really hope I explained that in a way that makes sense. Basically, you need to sum up that intake side. You need to start at 0, start at TDC, turn the motor over till that valve starts to open, and then stop when you get to 50 thousandths valve lift when the valve starts opening. And then check your degree wheel, write down that degree. And that should be before top dead center. Then you rotate the motor over and you stop before the valve closes, 50 thousandths of an inch before the valve is fully seated. And that'll occur after bottom dead center. Then you take those two numbers, you add them, you add 180, divide it by 2, and then subtract your open number. And that'll give you your center line. And you do that until you, like, if you need to adjust your cam, you find it here. I'll give you the wrong information. So, all right, I'm just going to read this right here. Set your cam to manufacturer's recommended center line. Note the difference between your current center line and the manufacturer's center line and adjust the cam appropriately. Loosen the adjustable cam gear bolts and rotate the cam in the appropriate direction to achieve the correct amount of advance or retard. For example, if you recorded a 104 degree center line on a cam that's supposed to have a 98 degree center line, it's clear that there's a 6 degree difference. Since an engine's cam spins at half the speed of the crank, the cam must be advanced 3 degrees, not 6. So like when I found 108 and... right? No, I was at 106. So it was 8 degrees off. And so basically I had to advance my cam 4 degrees. But then I was still off basically a degree on the cam. I was off by 2, but I needed to cut that in half. So I retarded the cam gear 1 degree, and it came out right at 98. Just the opposite. If I would have been lower, say if I would have recorded 96 degree center line and I needed to be at 98, then I would have just retarded the cam 1 degree, and that would have, basically brought me to 98. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna run through the intake side with you guys quick. I'll show you that one, and then we'll just basically close out this video, I think, because at that point I think we basically nailed it. So all right, now this one will probably be a little bit easier to see, because just the way the engine's tilted, it's actually a little bit lower on this side, so a little bit easier to read it. Now we're moving on to the exhaust side. Basically, we repeat the same process with the exhaust cam, except the difference is that the exhaust valves open before bottom dead center, and then they close after top dead center. So we'll go ahead, and while I pause you guys, I went ahead and put the motor back at TDC. All our dial indicators are at 0, and we're ready to rock and roll. So being that the exhaust valve starts to open after or before bottom dead center, basically, since we're at TDC, that piston's going to start going down right away, so that valve's going to start opening right away. So it shouldn't take much here, and we're going to see that needle start moving right before bottom dead center. There it's moving, and we got to go 50 thousandths of an inch open. Boom. So with that being at 50 thousandths. Oh, this is a pain. All right, now I'll bring it back down here, and we're at, I would say 51, and I don't know, 51.5 roughly. Well, last time I found 52. You know, it's hard to tell because that clothes hanger is so dang thick. But we'll just go 51.5. And that was before bottom dead center. Now we need to stop 50 thousandths of an inch before the exhaust valve closes. Get you guys back on my janky setup here. Come on, clip on. Don't want you to fall. There we go. All right. So we're gonna keep turning the motor. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going back the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think this is it here. We'll double check the degree wheel and see where we're at. It's 50 thousandths, and we should be checking it after TDC. Looking at the degree wheel right now, guys, we're right past top dead center. So we are looking at, actually I just put it down here because I know we're in the right spot. All right, so TDC, we are now, after top dead center because the motor turns counterclockwise. So we are looking at 22 degrees after top dead center. So 22 after TDC, and now we're going to do the math on that. So we've got 51.5 plus 22 plus 180 equals 253.5. Divide that by 2. 126.75. And then now on the exhaust side, instead of subtracting our open, we actually subtract our close. So we'll minus 22, and that gives us 104.75. And our center line is 105 before top dead center. So we're basically right there. I mean, the last time I did it, they said I got 52 instead of 51.5, so I was right on 105. So I mean, the cams are right there. They're right where they're supposed to be. That all of that math and everything, I guess that, I mean, it all makes sense to me. It feels like I did it all right, and I'm feeling pretty confident with it. So, but like I said, my little disclaimer a little bit ago, I ain't a pro. So use this information with, you know, but don't look at me like a professional engine builder, because I sure as heck ain't. Just a dude in a garage trying to go fast. So with that being done and the cams now degreed, I think my next step is I'm going to pull all of these little bolts out one by one so that my cams don't move on me. And I'm going to just put a little dab of Loctite on each one and then torque them. I believe, just Googling, it looks like the torque spec is like 6 foot-pounds. That's what I found in the old Honda forums. So probably pull each one of those out one by one with a dab of Loctite, torque them down, and then next I can take all of this off, pull the cams back out of here, and then I'll have to remove. The biggest thing I have to remember to do is pull those rockers back out and pull those little BBs that I put in behind those pins, and then just put it back normal so that my VTEC works right. And then I can just basically final assemble this thing, I think. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's really all I got for this cam degree video. Really hope it helps somebody. And yeah, I don't know, just trying to get more information out there for people, even though I'm, like I said, I'm not a pro, but you know, compiling enough information from other people, along with myself, a lot of research. Hopefully we can all just help each other out, and you know, we can all go fast and just have fun. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you're here watching it, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Leave a comment if you get, you know, if there's something you guys think I could have done better, worse. I don't know. Just give me some feedback, man. Anyways, hope you guys have a awesome weekend, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.